to the cost of living in Jacksonville, and it also covers St. John's and Clay counties too. I'm going to start with cars because most of us have cars. When you bring your car into Florida and register it for the first time, there is a fee of $225. It's also the same if you live in Florida and never registered a car, it's $225. Now, story time. I checked when I was about late teens, early 20s. I wanted to move to Florida. So I called, and it was $1,000 to bring a car in from another state. Isn't that crazy? I am so glad it went down to $225. Big difference. Now, as you can see, I have all the prices for what it costs to bring, license, title, registration on the screen. So there's no need for me to go over that. You can see it on the screen. Now, another story time. When you title a car in Florida, I think this is with most states too, but you could do and or. So if you have two people on the title and it's and, that means both people have to sign if you want to trade it in, sell it, whatever. If it's or, only one person needs to sign, whether you're buying it, you're trading it in, selling it, or whatever. Now, let me bring something up. Another story time, but if you are going to be separating, getting a divorce, or you're mad at the other person, maybe it's a parent, I don't know. If you're going through difficult times and it's your car, make sure you check your title. If it's or, let's say that person gets mad at you and they want to be spiteful, they can get your title and they can remove your name off of it if it says or for $77. And then you're off the title, even if it's your car. So if you're going through a rough time and you think you're going to have problems with that person, make sure you check out your title. And if you need to get their name off because it's not their vehicle, go to the DMV, get that done, $77. I have had to go through this by experience. Yeah, it almost went bad. All right, so we're going to quickly talk about some food prices, mainly items that I buy most of the time. Asparagus. We love asparagus. This is $2.97 or $2.98. I love this bacon. $8.98. It was $9.99. And I have to say, I've been buying this brand for many years, and the price stays around that $8.98, $9.99 threshold. So hasn't really been affected much. Chuck eye. I like chuck eye better than ribeye. This is $9.98 a pound. So it actually was higher, I believe, last year, and it has went down a little bit. Eggs. I eat eggs just about every day. This is part of a 36 count. And the 36 count, I bought this a few days ago, and it was $7.62. But I looked at the website on Walmart today, and it's like $10. So last year it was about $4.72. So for two of them, yes, total. So you see the prices went up. I am a soda drinker. I know, bad habit. It's caffeine free though, and diet. This was $1.38. I've seen it as high as $2. I've seen it as high as $3 at Publix. Milk. I'm not a milk drinker, so I can't show it to you, but it's about $2.98, which last year was $4 and some change. Cereal. I'm not really a cereal drinker or cereal eater, I should say. And it's running about $4.28 to $4.78 for one of the bigger, like Reese ones with the family style. And then, last but not least, Brussels sprouts. Can't go wrong with Brussels sprouts. $2.98. I've actually opened this and ate some, so there's actually a lot more. And you can also buy them in the bags where you just throw them in the microwave. Now, I'm going to give you a cooking tip on these because some people turn their heads against Brussels sprouts. They don't like them. I know, weird. But the key to cook these, to not be so bitter tasting, is to slowly cook them for a long time. You can either fry them in a pan with coconut oil, or when you do the ones that you throw in the microwave, You pop it in for about 8.5 minutes. That's like double what they tell you, but it's okay. Cut a hole in it, put it in for 8.5. It's going to be soft. Throw some butter, some salt, pepper. It will taste amazing. $2.98, and it's been that price for years. I don't even know when it has ever changed. But there's the food prices. Oh, and I don't want to forget, these food items are not taxed. So in the state of Florida, we don't get taxed on food items, which is nice because it does get tiring to have to be taxed on everything. So these food items, no tax. I don't know if that's where the same with your state. Let me know. Okay, now let's talk about utilities a little bit. I'll talk about water, electric, cell phone, and internet cable. I use Clay Utility. Our bill runs about $60 to $70. I think the last one was $72 a month. That seems to be pretty consistent for the past few years. The electric, now that's up and down because obviously we're Florida, we're hot, we run the air more. So I think the biggest bill so far has been $194 during the summer, and that was just for 1 month. And then we've been under 100, like $80, $90 during the winter time because when the temperatures are like 70 as your high, 50 as your low, we don't really need heat or air. We could have the windows up, keep the windows shut. So that saves a lot of money during the wintertime. Now, cell phone, we have two cell phones unlimited with Xfinity, and that's running about $100 a month. And that's unlimited data. But don't let them fool you. It's not unlimited. Yeah, you reach a certain data point, they'll slow you down. It's so frustrating. So make sure you use your Wi Fi as much as possible. We ditched the cable because that was running like over $200 a month. So we're just internet. Also, we do Netflix, Hulu, I believe Stars or one of those, Showtime. You end up spending almost as much in cable wise by doing all the streaming services too. So crazy. So we're paying, as far as the internet with Xfinity, is about $144 a month. That includes AMC Plus because we had to watch The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, and they're still going to have some extra shows coming out, so we still need that. If you have Netflix and Hulu, they're running about $15, $20. Um, so it's still cheaper than going the cable route because a lot of times you have the cable and you have the streaming services too. Daycare. Oh, daycare. I'm so glad my kids are growing from that. I just remember daycare being so expensive. Now it's even worse. And obviously, the younger, like a newborn, is going to be more. And I've seen the prices are ranging around 240, 250, and then that's the highest. 295 is the highest as well. Some I seen in Clay County was $99 a month. Um, for one child. My daughter did get a quote of $500 a week for two kids. Now, this was last year, and they were both young, 3, under 2. So they are younger. As they get older, it is a little bit cheaper. Nannies run about $18 to $20 per hour per child. So you could check into that route too. There's after school programs like the YMCA will go to certain schools. I don't know if it's at every elementary school, but they go to many of the elementary schools and they run a child care afterwards, and it usually lasts until about 6 o'clock, 6:30 at the schools. And that's not as expensive, and it's nice to have it at the school. Um, our school system is not set up for the older kids watching the younger kids as much. So elementary goes to school. Well, let me back up. High school goes to school first. Okay, so that's your oldest child going to school first. Then your elementary is going to school. Then your junior high. So thankfully the high schoolers are out first, if as long as they don't have after school programs are going to, and then the elementary and the junior high. But I remember getting into that phase of having my oldest in junior high, my youngest in elementary, and he was getting home before her. So we still had to do the daycare for a little bit longer. So they do that because of the school buses. They have to stagger them because a bus driver will drive elementary, then go to the junior high. Well, and high school is first. So they have to stagger them so the buses have plenty of time to get there. So that's your daycare cost, as you see on the screen too. Um, I know it's expensive. Call around. Make sure. I saw lots of places where they didn't give any prices unless you went on a tour. And I also saw a bunch with 3-star reviews. And I don't even need to tell you that, parents. I know that you probably already go ahead and look at that. Check out those reviews, see why. Make sure they're ran legally licensed through the state because they do, routine inspections and stuff like that too. So make sure you check those out as well. Okay, last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about housing and housing prices. I'm going to pop that up on the screen so you can take a look at it so I'm not just rambling off some numbers. You got a visual. Check out those numbers, the median sales price, and I use that instead of average because average, you're going to take the lowest and then the highest, which should be in the $1 million, and average them together. It skews the numbers, so it's not very accurate. So I use median sales price, which means that half have sold above that median sales price, the other half is sold below that median sales price. It gives you a little more accurate picture of what's going on. And you're going to see that in Jacksonville that it wasn't much of a difference from last year. 285,000 versus 280,000. That's less than 2% increase. And let me tell you on this one, at the beginning of the year, we were looking at 20% over last year, and it started to come down. And just a month or two ago, it was 10% over. And now we are seeing that gap shrinking. But we're still in a seller's market. Our inventory is going up, but it's still low enough to be in a pretty strong seller's market. But check out those prices, and some are saying we're going to see a crash in 2023, and I really don't think so. I think we're just going to see a correction and the equity going up, but maybe not as crazy. This month for November may be a very good indication. Rental, you may decide when you move here that you're going to rent instead. So if you look at the other chart I have, that's the median sales prices in our MLS for single family homes. So as you can see, those are still high over last year, except for if you look at St. Johns County, it did go down a little bit. And I think that's key is the rentals, because the rentals are super high. So your payment, even though the interest rate is a little bit higher, your payments are still better. There's still more benefits of owning for most people. Some people just don't want to rent, and that's okay. Not a problem. Apartments, we're seeing a little bit less as far as the median sales price. Again, what I'm showing is the rentals that are single family homes in our multiple listing service that's listed with agents. It varies for the apartments. I've seen them less in Jacksonville, Clay County, and St. John's as well. Now, homestead exemption. I'm not sure if most places have homestead exemption, but we do have a homestead exemption when you buy the house and you're an owner occupant, not for investors. So when you first buy a house, you're going to get to enjoy the previous person's homestead during that tax time that you first have the house. Now, if they have the homestead exemption, they may not. Now, once your homestead exemption kicks in, you got to make sure you file it. You only have to do it one time. You're going to see they're going to take about 20% off the price that you paid for the house. Then they're going to take your homestead exemptions, which are $50,000, but it's not a straight $50,000 off of everything. Schools don't have the full $50,000 coming off. It's less, but if you want to have a roundabout number, a rough estimate, you take $50,000 off, and then you multiply it by the millage rates, which are vary with each county. Even like Town of Orange Park is more than Clay County is. That gives you a rough estimate of what your taxes are going to be. Your local real estate agent, we could tell you. We can give a good idea of what it's going to be as well. So If you have any questions about the cost of living in Jacksonville, Clay County, St. John's, feel free to call or text me at the number you see on your screen. Leave me a comment. I love answering questions. Have a good day, folks.